We hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all men are created equal,
endowed by their creator
with certain unalienable rights.
That among these are life,
liberty, and the
pursuit
pursuit
of
of happiness.
So we know 37% of Gen Z population will be eligible to vote in November. And, while it is extremely important for those who are eligible to exercise their privilege and their right to vote, is voting enough? Because, these deaths happen, we say, okay, well, get out there and vote. But at the end of the day, voting is not going to erase the systematic racism that has lived within this country since the beginning of time. And so I really want to hand this question over to Nate, Davion, Ava, and Jade about what can we do within our own communities at grassroots levels to ensure that there's change being made.
Voting is definitely the first step, but there's more to be done. And we hear this when folks talk about writing letters, emailing, making phone calls. That's also just, that simple step makes such a big difference. And it simply could take just a board member or a county council member to propose something, eliminate the school police officer program, actually invest in cultural proficiency trainings for our teachers, invest in communities of color. So those are, our impoverished communities. Bring those magnet programs that you're providing to those wealthy kids over to where the Black and brown kids live too. Things based off the melanin of our skin. I'm fed up on that basis alone. Schools and where our children live in, that creates the community by which they see the society that they see after they leave high school. If you're living in a school by which you're not getting the same resources as your white and wealthy friends, then all of a sudden you're not good enough to get into Yale or Harvard or Princeton. That, those tutoring services that those other kids get don't apply to you because you're simply not smart enough. We have to change the system from the inside out. And that starts with voting, and that all the way leads up to protesting. I can almost guarantee that most of our Board of Education or our local districts, our council members and Board of Education members, they probably haven't seen more than 5 people in a public hearing. Those are the people that are going to change the way that society functions. You don't change it by tweeting about Donald Trump. You change it by tweeting about that council member who is all of a sudden who is anti bringing affordable housing into our communities, right? Our wealthy communities. It's those simple things. The system. I've been fed up for a while, and I hope that this moment truly does make people recognize that it's your neighbor who does serve on that council seat that can change everything for your community, your neighborhoods, your stores. They could change the way that, our I'm sorry to go on a tangent about this, but, folks that serve on planning committees, right? They're the ones that can all of a sudden approve whether that McDonald's is there or whether that grocery store is there, whether that hospital is there or whether that game store is there. There's simple things that make the biggest differences in our society. And so, yes, voting is the start to that. And I hope people take it past that. I hope people start, not yesterday, not next week, but today.
Nate, what you're saying is completely on point, and part of why having these conversations with our peers are important as well. It's not just about the presidential election, but also getting involved and familiarizing ourselves with the officials, laws, and policies on our local levels that are directly impacting our communities.
So what I would say how we could make a change, I started going to these board meetings, these board town hall meetings. I started going to educational boards. We have to show up. And when we show up, we have to tell them, and not just be saying, oh, we want this, that, and that, and tell them that one time. We have to come back and make sure it's coming and make sure it's going and it's getting processed. We have to make sure that the stuff that we need in school is there. The stuff that we need outside of school with people because I'm going to say it like this. I was put in foster care, and my life ain't been easy due to the fact of opportunities getting closed down my face due to where I go to school for. So I'm saying that because we all have different background stories, and we all been through different things, and we all want the same change, and that's all we want is equality. But for this, we have to go to the board, we have to go to the meetings, we have to actually sit there and listen to what they're saying and listen and how we could process and how we can make better changes. Because if we are not going there to make change, then I promise you there's nothing going to be done. If we just show up one time is not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. Like, you could cook a cake. How many times you check it? Like 5 times? You got to check a cake 5 times. You got to keep checking. You got to keep going. We have to keep fighting for something. Life and see it come to sprout it like a beautiful flower. I've seen stuff that my district say. I'm going to say, like, I've seen stuff that Inglewood district said that it was going to be done. And yet we ripped up. Not me, not because of me, but how it's the resources and the stuff that we must do and stuff. But it's hard to do it with people that don't care. Not saying they don't care, but the way they there is like they don't care. But we have, like, now is getting serious to where we have to start showing up to the meetings. We have to make our voices be heard as youth, as the people in the community, people of the state, people of this country. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that's writing the papers. They're the ones signing. They're going to go off of what their mindset is, what their colleagues say, but they ain't hear from the people that's going through it daily. They thinking what's best for business, but they ain't seeing what's is good for business. And that's us.
No, that was just, completely on point. And something that, especially what you were saying, something that came to mind was I was recently at a Black Lives Matter protest about last week. And something that stood out to me was something that Kendrick Sampson said. And it was, him saying that the march is the red carpet, but the real work is showing up and holding people accountable and making sure that when it's time for us to speak up and it's time for us to, really get out there and, create change within our own communities, to have holding people accountable, making sure that we're educating our peers at work. And so, everything that you, Nate, and Davion are doing is just absolutely incredible. So Ryan, you have a brother who is autistic and you're an autism advocate. And your mom, Holly Robinson Peete, she wrote a blog back in 2017 titled Autism and Police, and my plan to protect my son at a driving age and yours as well. And she recently reposted that, what she wrote back in 2017. And so I think my thing is, why is it important for her to create a plan to ensure that your brother stays safe?
Well, just like the topic of police brutality come up among, not just my household, but I would assume just like among your guys' households as well. But it's especially an important conversation to have in families when you have a sibling or someone on the spectrum, or just of any type of disability, because oftentimes, not just with police officers, but just in general, my mom always says it all the time that she what am I trying to say? Let me collect my thoughts for a second. These conversations are really important because oftentimes people don't know how to interact with people that do have autism and are on the spectrum. And so if my brother, who is a 6'4", 22-year-old, he loves to walk around the street and wear headphones, and it helps him calms down a lot. And if he was in an incident where he was interacting with a police officer, oftentimes he might not know how to react. He might not know how to press certain social cues in terms of how to interact with a police officer. And I don't know, I'm kind of rambling. With these instances, they're already so, but it's just oftentimes I consistently get nightmares thinking about my brother being in one of those situations and really just not knowing how to process anything going on due to just his brain physically, literally not knowing how to process what's going on, and then him turning into a hashtag. And so these conversations in terms of just having, in terms of those on the spectrum, it's so important to bring that to light, because I feel like oftentimes Black people that do have autism are often swept away from the conversation. And so it's important to talk about those things.
Absolutely.
Lexi, could I just add to that? Because what Ryan's saying is so true about this perfect, awful storm of factors, right? One is that police are not well trained in how to deal with people who have mental illness or, emotional considerations. They're also not trained in necessarily deal with people who are of color. And so when you layer those things together, right? A person who is on the spectrum with being a Black man, with being the size, right? My brother is about the same size as Ryan's brother. There is a perfect awfulness. And so I think part of it is helping to educate, which is one of the reasons I respect Ryan's mom, I was gonna say Holly, Ryan's mom so much, is because she and Tisha Campbell Martin were two of the first Black women to be out publicly talking about, yes, Black people are on the spectrum. This is a thing. And I feel like it's really important that we have those images and that we have people who are willing to be vocal about these issues so that people understand mental illness, mental health concerns, emotional, developmental delays. Those things don't discriminate. Those things occur in every single one of our communities. And so what's vitally important is that we help police understand, right, both mental health, how do you engage people, and we help everybody understand that, you know, it just sounds so kind of basic to say, but yes, Black people have autism too. And then the one other thing I just wanted to offer is, one of the reasons for life-changing for me is when I talk about why people treat me a certain way, I make sure that I take that outside the context of any of my traits. They don't treat me poorly because I am a woman, because I am Black, because I'm a chocolate girl. They treat me that way because they are racist, sexist, they are colorist, right? That takes a responsibility. I don't have for this other person's behavior to get right. They need to change their behavior. And when I first heard it, like I burst into tears because I was like, yes, because if I say it's because of something about me, that means I need to change. I don't need to change. Homophobic, right? I don't know, that person needs to change. And so I just feel like it's really important that we honor all of the beautiful diversity that I see here. We're all unique, we're all special, we all have these wonderful gifts and talents. And one other thing I always have to say to people is, it's just so important, especially for young people, but also not so young people, is I want you to hear that everything about you and who you are is valuable for no other reason than because you exist. You don't need any other reason to be valuable, right? You are valuable just because you're here. So I just felt like I felt compelled to say it. And I just really appreciate the question about autism and Black people and policing, and all of that is so important.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for, just for bringing it up, because like I said, like the topic of Black people with autism also just gets so just swept under the rug, especially within the context of police brutality. And my twin brother, he's verbal, we talk to him, like he can communicate, but a lot of people with autism and can't talk and communicate and and so it's just, yeah, it's definitely something that definitely needs to be brought to light. So I appreciate you for bringing that to light and just having me here. This has been such a incredible talk, and I've just really learned a lot and enjoyed hearing all of you guys speak and everything.
I mean,
this is
thank you.
Really special.
Thank you so much for being a part of this.
You help us, we help them. Compassion is ingrained in love. That's the answer, but we answer to the opposite direction of the cause. Black bodies, they don't care. You see me unaware of what's on my mind. Black bodies, oh, I need you to see me, yeah. I got some good change in my heart. That's where change gotta start. That's where change gotta start.